everyone. Welcome.
Hey,
Cheers it up. Cling, clang, bling, blang. Murder. Mezcal. Just with water.
Let's hope.
Hey, everyone, and welcome to session 2 of the Circle of Fives Candela Obscura campaign.
Yes.
As we learn more about what's going on in the spooky world of New Fair, and sometimes the spookier world of Old Fair below. Would anyone like to recap our previous session? We've established off camera that Rachel has the best notes. So if Rachel wants to give the high level recap, and then someone else can come in with the finer details there.
Well, okay, I'll say what I said before. We did see a ghost.
Yeah.
We beat the robot, and then we went to Five Guys.
Beautiful. And that is, in a nutshell,
Do we need one?
the first session. Does anyone want to give color and a little bit more shading there?
If you can.
Well, we did. If you possibly can.
Yeah, this starts at the entrance to the underground, is that right?
Yes, actually, the most recent session would have started as basically you retrieving the dagger from dead Jonathan.
Yes.
And then going from there.
Okay. So, yeah, we got the dagger, and then I'm definitely not the person who should be doing this, but once we got the dagger, we took it to your grandfather's place, who had a set, and once he looked it over, he confirmed that it was the center of a lot of the research that he had been doing and wanting to complete the set, and that it's related to Old Fair, and that we also know that it's somewhat related to the alchemists that lived in Old Sway, is what I wanted to say, Old Fair, so it actually is. In the midst of doing that, McCoy stayed outside and was having some general vibrations around the spectral life that was going on, and then had an interaction with this ghost that has been telling you to complete the set. And while you were outside doing that, and we were inside with the daggers, the roof lifted up and flew away. Yeah. And so, as we all collectively were struggling to understand reality and not happening, the pressing nature of us. Now I'll put my microphone on.
Perfect timing.
Yes. Then we were met at Five Guys. The pressing nature of that sent us to follow some old maps and information that your grandfather had, and so he sent Bo and Derek to go with us down into the underground to do some exploring where some of his explorations had stopped. And while we were hanging out down there, Bo took me and Ox, I think, down one path, and we found an automaton running itself into a wall as if it did not really have any senses around it, but then eventually figured out that we were there and was like trying to kill us, and then it killed Bo. And we got away from that, and then Derek was with McCoy and Anderson, Mr. Anderson. And he just walked off with his torch, and then later we just saw that torch on the ground, which was by a wall. And in that wall was a drawing of the artificers, and there was also a map of the underground with some more iconography that pointed us towards the things being related to the artificers and the high artificer. And so in the wall, we saw 4 artificers and a spot for maybe the high artificer, and then there was a slot in which we entered one of the daggers. We thought there was blood involved, but I don't think anybody bled into a bowl, which then opened up the wall, and we went inside, found a glove, and found some other magical artifacts in a drawer. It seems to be the same room from that initial scene where there was the High Artificer, the High Empress. Was that it?
Empress, I mean.
Artificer? Artificers are alchemists.
I didn't know it was right, it was alchemist, thank you. But while we were in that room, we found slots for all the daggers. We saw the ghost that was telling us through you to complete the set, in which we did, and then another automaton came in. One of y'all swiped the items to
I grabbed the glove and held it up towards it.
Great. Yes, you controlled one of them with that glove, but then it hurt you to do that too. And then we escaped through the ceiling to get away with some of our newfound items. We still have the daggers.
No,
One of the daggers is locked in.
Okay, but we use the daggers to get the glove and some other stuff we don't know what they are. Yeah, because we started some other stuff, and then we went to Five
Guys, the burgers and fries, and also mission log for Candela Obscura. So we're gonna kick things off with some circle advancement. because we completed an assignment, and so we're going to do some quick filling up the illumination track. So the illumination track is how we mark our progress in Candela Obscura as a circle collectively. The way that we start to fill in this illumination track, everyone has a circle sheet, and so everyone conceptually has a circle sheet. Great.
I can
Look
look
at
at
extras. But yeah, we're all following this along. We're using this for our own reference. So we have a few questions that we'll ask to go through and fill in the illumination track. And this will take multiple campaigns to fully fill this up. But once it fills up, we get to do some kind of cool stuff. So first of all, illumination questions. For every yes, we're going to fill in the illumination track alone. So, did we contain or destroy a source of bleed? This is also, I guess, a pop quiz for Alvin.
What is contained? How would you?
So I would count what at the very end when we found the stash of items that we reported back to Candela.
Yep.
Those would be a source of bleed because Box experienced some bleed, and so now we have.
Okay.
It was just if you ran out, it's a cube, a golden sphere, an empty vial, and that glove. But it was all taken back to to Candela. So we all have that, and there's a cat playing with the clock. Sorry. So yeah, so yes. So I'm gonna fill in the first.
Cool.
If we're working around it like a clock, I'm filling in the first circle to show we did that.
Cool.
Next question: did you provide comfort or support for those affected by a phenomenon?
Yes.
Yes.
We sure did. We did on the boat at the very beginning. So we'll fill in that track. Another circle. Did you bring something of importance back for Candela Obscura to protect or study?
Yes.
You did. It's all those items again.
We sure
Do we
did.
count each individual item or just as a
No,
collective?
it's just a point if each of those questions was hit. Next, we're going to earn 2 illumination if some but not all players fulfilled an illumination key during the session. So those again are the little prompts at the bottom of your sheet.
Oh. So you don't have to fill
You don't even have to do all of them. You just have to achieve one of them.
Okay.
It's a generous game.
Cool. I did one.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So everyone did that. So we're actually going to get 4 illumination because we all did at least 1 illumination key.
Love it.
So
we had a thing.
we did. That is a milestone, which
Look at that, an achievement box. It just came out.
I literally looked. I'm the most gullible man alive. So we have a milestone filled out. That actually, I don't think, because there's a circle ability that uses milestones that we didn't pick, which is totally fine. To recap, our circle ability is nobody left behind. When a member of your circle drops incapacitated from taking too many marks, any roll the player makes in the sim to protect them or get them out of danger has +1 die.
Yeah.
So it's good to remember in the future if anyone's incapacitated again. And I told the circle this already, but to you listening at home, I'm recovering from a cough, so apologies. That's going to happen a few times this session, just to remind everyone. Next up, Candela Obscura resources. So we currently have 5 full resources in Stitch, Refresh, and Train. So the way that Stitch, Refresh, and Train work, as each person in the circle, we're going to go around and you can use 2 resource points, up to 2 per player. Now, something to remember, we've talked a lot about how resources are scarce in Candela, and we want to use them wisely. So this current pool of 5 per thing is what your circle has until the illumination track is filled again. So when the illumination track is filled, our resources go back up to 5 in each category.
Okay.
But until we do that, so assuming we knock it out of the park consistently, we're going to have to do 3 more sessions before these reset again. So keep that in mind. We saw how much marks came and how easy it is to run out of drives and all of that stuff. So keep in mind that we don't want to just dole out the resources because we can and because we have them. But here's what each one of them does. So for Stitch, if you use the Stitch resource, you clear all marks for that character. So that's not scars, obviously, but if you currently have any marks, they all go away.
I have 3.
I have 3 too.
You were 2.
3. Okay.
Okay.
But none of us have scars, so
No.
it's just Rachel.
Yeah, just Rachel.
Okay.
Just Rachel. So that's the thing to
Yeah.
keep in mind. So basically, any of you, the fourth mark you get, if it's all three in one category, right?
Mhm.
If you have 3 marks in one category, then the fourth mark you get, you would then drop incapacitated and get a scar.
Oh.
Is that not what you do, Rachel?
I think that I did once I have 3. Then I get a
Oh,
star.
at like period?
Yeah. Oh.
No, she did 3 in one category, right? It was
Well,
3 in
that's
categories
what I
and not the
did.
fourth.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Oh, like I see what you're saying. Like
Yeah.
you didn't get up to 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it would be your fourth mark is when.
So I think I did it wrong, but I will keep that though.
Which I mean you did.
It's a part of me now.
That's right. We're learning it. So
That's good to
your
know.
fourth scar in a particular category, you would drop incapacitated.
Okay.
And then you go from there. Then you make your scar, you change your character sheet a little bit. We can cross that bridge if it happens in this session. So that's Stitch. It clears all the marks. Refresh, you can recoup all used drives and resistances for one type of character. So if you've extinguished all the drives that you have, if you run out of resistances, all that good stuff, that's very helpful. And then train. Train is where you would take a d6 that you can use on any roll in the next assignment. So narratively, it's like you spent the downtime in between assignments to do something to kind of hone the skill. Maybe it's you go down to the rink and you go a few rounds with the punching bag, and now you have a die for control or for your nerve, I guess. And it can be whatever. We would work that out narratively, but so that's what the 3 of them are. Stitch, clear all marks, refresh, recoup all your drives, and then train. You take a d6 for your next assignment. So we'll go around the circle, and everyone can take up to 2 resource points. It obviously doesn't make sense to double up in a category, but you could take any 2 from the 3 options, or say I just want this, or I'm gonna pass entirely. Y'all can deliberate as a group, say how you want to do that, and then we'll just kick off with Michael and go around the table once we decide what we want to do.
Only thing I would want to do is the Stitch thing, but I also don't have to say that. I just have 2 on brain and 1 on bleed. So that means I'm 2 away from brain, which very easily
Yeah.
could also not. It could happen, but it could also not happen.
You also
Depending on how I
have
play
to
the switch.
Yeah, because I have 2 on body.
Okay. I'm not, of course. I think you are and should.
No, you just erased yours, right?
No, I didn't.
She has 2 on.
I decided to keep the scar, even though I don't think
I
would've.
I would rather you use it than me because you already have the scar and
Yeah.
because we have 3.
What I would also caution against us using these a bunch is we can
This is
afford.
probably the most valuable.
Yeah, and we can afford the first scar for everyone, I would
Right.
say.
So,
you know, like we can maybe hold off on stitching until we get the scar. Since you have one, you can use
Yeah.
Okay, I will use 1 from Stitch.
Um,
Sorry. What you want to start around? Start with Michael and go on.
Should we just use a training tape? Like should each of us just use one?
For this session.
I don't know. I mean,
Does it roll
we can
over?
figure one.
If we don't use it.
You would take it on this campaign.
Okay, so not next time. If we didn't use it.
I won't do anything this time, so we can go over to you. Because I also haven't used any of my things.
Okay.
I'm
If
a
you
hoarder.
want to train.
No, I'm a
train.
hoarder. Oh, what about future training?
I will not stitch. I'm good on refreshing as well. I would like to consider training in some form of like just intentional study of the ascendancy. I think our interactions with them has like piqued Thaddeus' interest, and he would like go back to the university,
Yeah.
just kind of look at some books and just try to see history about them and kind of like what their whole interaction with new fair, old fair, all of that. Just try to get really familiar and comfortable with some of the anything that we learned about them if that's been done.
Do it.
So you're training, Michael. Were you?
I'm not doing it.
Nothing. Okay.
And
And also, I want to make sure that I don't confuse anyone. We'll narratively work out what training looks like, but the dice can be used on any role in the campaign. So it's not, you're not saying I'm training to have a die in this category.
Okay.
I misspoke on that.
Okay.
So you just have a d6 that you can use.
Okay.
And so really we would just in the moment work out
Okay.
what that looks like. but you just have that. Yeah, it's like an inspiration.
Yeah.
Cool.
I will take 1 stitch.
What?
I'm gonna erase the body mark and the 2 brain marks that I have.
Okay. Yeah, so you get rid of all of that. And so on the character sheets are all tracking erasing a train
Yep.
only from the available tab. We're keeping them max untouched because that just shows
Yeah, we're keeping
all
the bottom.
fresh too. Yes.
Training and stitch so far.
Train and stitch.
What would you like, Nathan?
Have you used any of these things?
Yeah, I mean, I've
You
used
used You used 2 of them.
Yeah, 2 of them. But I feel like I could easily get. Cunning is a little bit harder to get. However, nerve I could easily get back a.
Oh, this is interesting here.
Huh?
Because you have a diamond in it.
Yeah, because like I think I could easily. I feel like I would punch something.
Yeah.
At some point.
And also, I'm not trying to say anything, but like we've been very conservative this round with our refreshing. We haven't touched the refresh at all. So if you want to refresh,
Yeah.
you want to do that. No one else claimed that, so.
Well, yeah, let's take one of each. So if you want to, how many have you used?
So I did use 4
You should probably do that too. Yeah.
in refresh. I do have 2 gilded actions in both categories, but yeah. Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
You're gonna both take a refresh?
What do y'all think? What are the party things?
I mean, I know we can reactivate it too, but I think of all of these, the most valuable is the stitch. So I think using 2 refresh would be fine for y'all to get that back up.
Okay.
Cool. So you'll both refresh. Erasing 2.
I need to start actually using those.
Has Thaddeus used all of the.
You used 1, I used 1.
Okay.
Actually, I don't even think I used 1. How many do we have?
9, I think. Or is it different for every person?
It should be.
It was
9.
So I only used 1.
Yeah.
All right.
Good deal. You ready to
Any other story?
Here we go. So, as with the previous session, we'll begin with a little bit of story time, and then we'll catch up with our characters. I have one more question before we do that, though, and that is, what were your characters doing in downtime? Like, if you have downtime, what would you have been getting up to? We'll go around circle again, starting with Michael. If that's cool.
Ox is most likely catching up with his grandfather since I'm there, and also probably checking in on fixing the house. Just to see if he needs any help with that or whatever. Yeah. So I'd be at Aldrich's house.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I would spend some time there too. Kind of spending some time with Ox, but also trying to get information and just learn from Aldrich as well. And then in my, what I referenced earlier, my study, wanting to look at any writings about the Ascendancy, I would also probably using some of Aldrich's passion as well, like invite him to go back to the university with me, as it's somewhere I've seen him before. To also join in study of more of like the artifact side of things and living in the books.
In those books.
McCoy works at a mental asylum during her downtime. I forget the name of it. Gracelet. And so she, there's actually a lot of people that are in this asylum who are there because they've had experiences with phenomenon and don't believe them. And so McCoy feels very drawn to them and wants to help them. So she works there in her downtime. And she's still a little shaken up from the bleed mark that she took, and her hand is not functioning quite as right, so she's throwing herself into service as kind of a distraction.
Wade is likely, well, he isn't likely, he is currently working out, just hitting the bag a couple times, doing quick runs. After finishing the workout, he's prone to go to a local tavern for a drink, as soldiers likely do, or most of the time do, to try to forget horrors they've seen from war.
Love it. Quick gag at the old pub. All right, good deal. Thank you. So, we now, as we did in our first session, are going to travel back in time a bit. In our first session, we traveled very far back in time. We traveled multiple centuries back into the past. This time we're actually just traveling a month before the Circle of Five had their adventure in Seasway and below South Soffit. We start in total darkness. It's the dark, kind of dripping background cavern ambience, you could say. It's just black. It's as if you had gone to a tour of a cave, and I don't know if anyone's ever done this, but there are caves you can go and tour and look at the lights, and it's like you can't see your hand. True darkness is probably true darkness. Plunged in true darkness as we hear some in the distance, some scuffs and some scrapes, and maybe the sound of boots against rock. As if we were at the end of a tunnel, you see some light start to emerge further down the tunnel, kind of around the cover. Yeah. And then there's a thunderstorm.
What is happening? Someone's knocking on the door. A tea kettle. Okay.
Yes. Spooky. Yeah. It's so spooky. This light grows stronger and stronger. And then we see that it is in fact torchlight. And we have a torch kind of comes into view around the corner. There is a man in a maroon trench coat. He's got black boots and a torch, and he looks like he's very much on the ready. And as he's walking, he's got a small black dagger with him. And this is not like a dagger from our previous session. I maybe should specify this. It's just your ordinary run-of-the-mill dagger this guy's got. But he's got his torch, he's got his dagger, and he's looking up as far as the torchlight will allow him to see. Behind him comes a woman. This woman is in a teal dress, some sturdy leather boots that we can see kind of just below the knee, that as she is also traipsing along. She's got some black leather gloves that she has on. And in one of those, she has a very delicate silver pistol in her hand. And she's kind of doing the same there, behind Trenchcoat Man. She's looking around behind. And then following the two of these people are two more individuals. One's in just a kind of a very average kind of everyman blazer. He's got khakis and some spectacles. We can see a little notebook. It's tucked in his breast pocket, but right now he does not have the notebook out. He's got a shotgun ready to go. And he's sort of, as the front two people are looking up into the crevices and the cracks, this person in the blazer is more looking kind of towards the ground, and sort of peeking around and over the shoulder every now and then beside him, we have the best dressed individual of the party. We see this man in a shock of white hair, oiled back, and then a pointy white beard. He's in a three-piece suit, looking very nice, and he's got almost a picture like a Jurassic Park cane. It's got an ornate little top to it, and he's
It's a dinosaur?
With a mosquito in it.
with a little mosquito in it. Yeah. Picture a dinosaur.
He's a dinosaur?
Moving a dinosaur along. No. This dinosaur has a cane.
Wow.
And he's there's a light kind of tap that will kind of echo through the cavern as he is tense, but seems almost the most reserved and calm. Like he's done this a million times before, but he's very much at the ready as he kind of leads up the rear. And every now and then we see him check a pocket watch but we don't see what's in the pocket watch, but we do see that every time he checks it, there's a faint glow that kind of hits his face as he checks the pocket watch. And he closes it, and he packs it away, and he continues to look. And this group of 4 creep along. The woman in the dress says, "Oh, I hope that we can wrap this up soon. I'm sure Temperance is worried about what's taking so long at this point." As she looks around into the shadows, moving along. The man in the trench coat in the black boots leading the way. He's like, "I can't be far now. I know I heard some sounds in the distance here. There's some creeping along. You've got to watch the rocks very carefully." And almost on cue as he says that, we see over his shoulder a section of the cavern wall that is solid rock to our eye, just shift down a little bit. Not like even a rock fall, almost as if you took like the pattern, the wallpaper, and just like click and dragged it. It's kind of moved a little bit. Thankfully, the elderly gentleman in his cane leading the crew behind us noticed this instantly. His eyes flickered to where the stone moved, and he lets out a quick little, almost like a code that the rest of the group would know, and everyone pauses, and they very subtly look to him. He subtly looks to the wall, and he lifts his cane, and he slowly moves a long, slim blade from the cane, and he kind of attaches the holster or the sleeve of his cane to a part of his belt. There's a moment of complete silence, and then the group, in one very quick, fluid motion, spins towards this wall. The pistol fires. The knife goes out towards the wall as he kind of tries to swing up at the wall. The blade is ready at the back of the group, and the shotgun blasts from the man in the blazer. We hear this loud, shrill scream, and then the rocks, as quickly as they were rocks, suddenly the illusion breaks, and we see this sort of blue-green, scaly creature. It's long, it's got 6 legs that are up on the wall. It's got this dragon-like mouth, and it screems at them, and it hits the ground. It's been hit by these bullets, but it doesn't seem like that's stopped it. It whips around with its tail, and it kind of knocks the legs out from the man with the trench coat. He goes falling, and the creature we see kind of starting down near the stomach and then rising up near the mouth, this sort of glow as it kind of like, and then it just fires this like acidic, gluttonous blast at this group of 4 people, and they scatter. It hits the wall, and there's this hissing sound as the rock, just as quickly as it was like rough face, is just smooth and dripping, and they all hit the ground. The man with the cane has been waiting for this moment, and he mutters something under his breath as he swings the cane, and as he mutters something, we see that the blade he has also starts to glow, and these runes kind of light up along the blade as he swings at the creature, but he wasn't fast enough, and the creature darts off further into the darkness. And then now they're in hot pursuit. The man in the trench coat is helped up. They chase this creature, and then they ultimately find the creature cornered at the end of this cavern. And the creature is hissing. It kind of gets ready for another blast, and as it does that, we see the man in the three-piece suit pull out a small hand grenade from his pocket, and he chucks this over the rest of the crew at this creature. Right as the creature's about to unleash its blob, the grenade makes impact. There's an explosion, and a cloud of smoke kind of obscures everyone from view. And as the crew is sort of peeking through the fog, trying to see if that did the trick, they now see that this dead end that they thought that they'd led this creature up to has opened up into a larger space. And they look at one another. They start to slowly creep forward. The man with the shotgun takes the lead now. He's cocked. He's ready to go again. And he's got the shotgun ready as they slowly work through this hole in the cavern. And they emerge into this large space that again is just pitch black. There's no light to be seen. They look over to one side of the room, and they can't see to the far end of the room, but just out of where the torchlight sort of ends, there's what looks like raised up, almost a sarcophagus, you might say. It's this dark stone, and there doesn't seem to be any way to open this. It just kind of goes up. It's got some carvings. It's got like the shape of a person kind of at the top, like you would see in like a Egyptian sarcophagus of sorts. But this is at the far end of one room of the cavern. And then as they drift over to the other side, what looks like a stone door, a big stone door that's got, it's gilded. So there's all kinds of like gold vines and symbols and runes on the door. So on one end we have this sarcophagus, and the other end we have this door. Where are we? Says the man in the trench coat. Well, says the elderly gentleman, and surprisingly unrefined accent for how pristine he is. If my map is correct, and he pulls out a little kind of foldable map that we see a kind of a crude map of New Fair and Old Fair. He goes, I do believe we are right under. And as he starts to say that, we hear the scream again. The lizard wasn't dead. It's actually kind of curled up at the top of the entrance that they exploded with the initial grenade. And it turns out that section of the opening is not as sturdy as maybe they would have hoped. And the rocks start to kind of crumble and fill in the hallway that was blasted, trapping them in this cavern as the lizard kind of hops off and lands on top of the three-piece suit gentleman. And as they scream and run forward, the jaws close down around this man's head. And as if it was just like pulling Laffy Taffy or something, this man's head is just ripped right off of the body as this creature just goes in on him.
Is he okay?
And just, well, if they do enough illumination, he's going to get a stick.
Okay.
Yeah. So this man, this creature just rips this head off. The woman in the dress screams, and she holds out her pistol and fires at this creature. It seems to glance off the blow as the creature, again, this glow fills up, and it fires at the crew again. The remaining three final standing members, they dive out of the way. This blast goes past them and hits the sarcophagus. At first, nothing happens. It seems like the sarcophagus was unaffected, as this blast that we previously seen melt the wall just sort of seems to leave the sarcophagus unmarked. But then a bright line of light emits from one end of the sarcophagus, as we hear kind of that same sizzling sound of the rock being melted previously. This line of light appears, and it goes around the perimeter of the sarcophagus as this lights up. And the crew sees the sarcophagus lighting up, and while they might not normally move closer to it, there's this lizard almost sort of balking them in as it continues to crawl towards them, and almost pinning them, almost getting closer and closer against this sarcophagus. Mm-hmm. And as they back up further and further, there's just the sound of like a quick shift of stone from behind them, from the sarcophagus. The man in the blazer yells, "Down!" And they all get on the ground. And as the lizard is preparing to kind of pounce at them, as this reptilian creature is diving towards them, the lid of the sarcophagus flips and blasts off at meteoric speed of the sarcophagus. It hits the lizard, flies across the wall, and the lizard smashes into the double doors that are gilded in gold on the other side of this room. The stone shatters, and the lizard hits the ground as the doors don't open, but we see that the sarcophagus door has severely wounded it. Now the group is up against the sarcophagus. one of them kind of peeks around, and they say, "Well, there are bones in." And then, just as soon as they start to look in the sarcophagus, they kind of look up and look around. Did you see that?
At the periphery.
Did you see something? And then the doctor was like, I thought I saw someone, but there's nothing there now. They're dead silent. They hear this kind of groan as the lizard is just barely in shadow, about to kind of prepare for one final attack. They're like, well, this isn't something we can worry about now. The man in the blazer with the shotgun says. He gets ready again for the lizard, and right as the lizard is about to pounce. Now, again, they have this torch. They're over against the sarcophagus, but the room is very dark near these doors. It's very hard to see. They can really only see the glow of this lizard as he prepares to fire another blast at them. And right before this blast happens, in the darkness, we just hear a huge thud, and the glowing glue almost gets flattened a little bit. And there's a crunch and silence. And the party waits. And there's silence, and then out of the silence and the echoing of that crunch, there is another growl. And this growl gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And further up, they see a new pair of eyes, an unfamiliar pair of eyes, illuminated in the darkness. They suddenly realize the height of this cavern that goes beyond these doors, and that these eyes are illuminated almost 100 feet above them. And they hear this growl, and we see the focus on this party as these monstrous thuds move, as some creature is moving out of the darkness. They open their mouths in this combined scream of the three of them as some new force moves ever closer to them. And as this scream begins, the scream changes as we leave this scene. The scream is now a siren. It is a police siren. A car from the office of the periphery, the police of New Fair, driving through the Shreve line. The Shreve line, you four would know, is the home base of the Ascendancy, the religion of New Fair. And this police car, with two officers inside, Officer Johnson and trusty Officer Ronson, buddies to the end, are pulling up to the New Fair morgue. The New Fair morgue is where all of the deceased individuals in New Fair eventually find their way to this morgue for the priests and the acolytes within the Ascendancy would perform final rites, would perform rictus rites perhaps, depending on, again, the status and the class of these people. The morgue is in the shadow of the Chapel of the Ascendancy, which is a comical thing to call this building a chapel. It is monstrous. It is a huge cathedral would be a better word. Fortress would maybe be a good word. Chapel is a strange choice. It almost seems comically ironic that this building would be considered a chapel, but at the foot of it is this morgue. They pull up, and Officer Johnson says, "Do we have to go in there? Place gives me the heebie-jeebies." And Ronson says, "We got orders, man. I don't know. We gotta. The big man told us that Elias, he's got some new information." And Officer Johnson sighs, and puts his head against the seat of the car for a minute. "Oh, okay. Let's do this." And then Johnson and Ronson, buddies to the end.
I'm only 5 days away from retirement.
5 days from retirement. Get out of the car, and then they head into the morgue. And they're very quickly met, as they enter the morgue, they're almost immediately met by a figure in red robes covering the face. There's a little slit for the figure to interact and communicate with these two officers. And without a word, the motions and leads them down a stairwell and kind of deeper into the morgue, into a deep, further down room, where we then enter this long open space with many metal slabs for bodies. And they're currently almost entirely filled with very ramshackle looking corpses. These are men and women of various levels of kind of rough and tumble clothes. They look like they have old kind of tattered clothes. They some of them look singed as if they had been burned. Some of them the burns are on their face and in their hands, and every single one of them has the rictus rite performed on them. They're in this cage that has their jaws held open, and they have some of them still have other red cloaked figures over them, no longer performing the rictus rite, but removing what seems to be teeth. They're just removing specific teeth from these bodies, and Officer Ronson, kind of peeking in, trying to get a better view, sees that one of these teeth kind of glints in the light for a second. He realizes, he looks to the red cloaked figure. They're removing gold teeth, and the red cloaked figure, without any further, says nothing beyond just pirates, as he gazes over this scene. The final tooth is dropped into a bag, and the priest starts to, or the sorry, not priest, but the acolyte, the follower of the ascendancy, starts to walk towards the two officers. Johnson, maybe prematurely, reaches out his hand as if he's going to take this bag of teeth, and then a voice behind him,
Officer Johnson.
Oh, jeez. Mr. Alliance, Your Eminence, sir. Good to see you. Hello, Eminence, sir. And we see a familiar figure, a tall man in more opulent robes than the other followers. Bald, very stern, kind of austere gaze as he looks down at the two officers, and he holds his hand out, and a leather bag is dropped into his hand, and he kind of tosses up and down. We hear the clink of what sounds like many golden teeth in this bag, and he pockets it into his robe. And he says,
"Thank you for your service."
To the red cloaked acolyte. The acolyte bows and returns to kind of checking on the bodies. Your Eminence, you said that you had some information.
That is correct. I have some new members that have fallen out of the grace of the Mother. Some new faring citizens that have proved to be untrustworthy and unbecoming of the high standards we hold the people of New Fair to.
Yeah, no problem. We know the drill. Just give us some names and we'll be on our...
And as Officer Ronson is talking, we hear a scream from the other end of the hall. Further down in the bodies, past many of these pirates, one figure seems to not be as dead as maybe we thought that they had been. This figure also has the rictus rite, but this figure, it's hard to make out their face because there are these black veins that are filling the neck and the face. It seems like there's this spider web that comes out of some sort of kind of neck wound in their mouth, and this figure is kind of starting to writhe on the table. Two of the priests run over. In that same moment, the contraption that's holding their mouth open snaps as their jaw breaks this contraption, and it kind of rips this off. And as it rips off the contraption, it rips off a good chunk of the skin on its own face, but that doesn't seem to deter it as it sits up and immediately grabs one of the priests and just starts banging its head against this metal table. Oh my God! As the officers kind of start to get their guns out, and Elias, the Eminence, as they've referred to him, kind of holds his arm out. They look up at him in startlement as this commotion is going on at the end of the hall, and Elias is watching with an almost kind of greedy grin, and his eyes are wide as he watches this scene at the end of the hall, and a sort of half smile as this occurs, and this man's head continues to get pummeled into the ground. As finally the priest kind of limps over, the other, I keep saying priest, acolytes, the other acolytes start to kind of come in to try to restrain this man, but it doesn't seem like anything is working, as this man, creature, thing, whatever, is just decimating them. He's grabbing faces and snapping bones, and it's just, it's a massacre. Your Eminence, we gotta do something!
Oh, all in good time, all in good time. The Father has foreseen this occurrence, and it is important for the light of the Mother that we allow this to happen.
What does that even? Certainly, absolutely. Yes, this is good. This is good, says Officer Ronson. Yes, yeah, says Johnson, backing up his partner. Partners to the end, really. Elias continues to watch this massacre of acolytes at the end of the hall. And then when the final acolyte has been quite literally kind of Bane and Batman lifted and snapped over the knee of this black veined creature, he sees sight on the next visible man, which is now Elias, who is striding down the hallway.
Officers, I would request that you wait in the hall.
But Your Eminence, are you sure that? And before Officer Johnson can say anything, two acolytes come in from outside and take them each by the arm and leave the room as the door is closed, leaving Elias alone in the room with this man.
Oh my God.
Welcome back to the land of the living,
says Elias as we return to the room with Elias and this creature, this thing. The black veined man kind of turns to Elias and snarls. Elias says,
"I'm good to see. Some things never lose their power."
And he kind of chuckles to himself as this black figure then just enters a dead sprint towards him. Elias stops about halfway down this room as the creature is now kind of bearing in on him. And Elias just, almost as if he's kind of ready to receive, holds his hands down by his side. And as the being is running, not even 10 feet from him, suddenly there is a long blade that emerges from the Elias's robe. It pops down into his hand, and this blade, as it emerges, is immediately engulfed in flame. And this kind of flaming blade comes down Elias's hand, and with his arms kind of down by his sides, he then swings his arm up, not even as if he was trying to pierce the man, but the moment he swings his arm up, it's as if he tore a line in the air in front of him, and there's suddenly a red line with a faint light just kind of floating between him and the man, and this motion, the kind of creature kind of goes back as if he almost flinched at the blade coming up, and this hole starts to open in front of, between Elias and the creature, and this hole gets bigger and bigger, and the moment it starts to get big, this creature, this black-winged creature, is just bathed in red light. This red, warm glow is just covering the creature, and the creature, it is, before it has the chance to even understand what's going on, a enormous, furry hand comes out of this hole and grabs this creature and pulls it into the hole. And then, as soon as that happens, Elias brings his arm back down, and it's as if the weapon that created this hole immediately sewed it back together, and this hole closes back up, and Elias is alone in the room, and kind of to himself, because there's no one else except for the corpses of these acolytes and these pirates. He says,
"We'll speak later."
And he turns and he walks back towards the doorway. Meanwhile, out in the hallway, Officer Johnson and Officer Ronson, partners for life, are standing there with the acolytes. And one of them is just looking at the robes. He's like, "So you just hike that up every time you gotta take a leak? Do you go out the slit? How do you even get at that?" And then the doors start to open, and Elias walks out into the hallway. Your Eminence, are you good? Officer Johnson's peering into the room. Where did the thing go, even?
No matter, it has been dealt with. The Father has dealt his justice in this instant. Thank you very much. Anyways, there is a group of individuals, again, as I said, that I would require you to watch very closely in coming days and weeks. They have interfered in the business of the ascendancy, and by default they have interfered in the will of the father and the plans of the mother, and they are hampering the joy of the child, I'm afraid. And nefarious,
No.
nefarious machinations.
Mecca who? Says Johnson, and Ronson says, no problem, Your Eminence. We can keep tabs on them just like the rest. What, you got a name?
Certainly, they are yet another chapter of Candela Obscura. I'm sure you're familiar.
Yes, yeah, we know the types. They're real kooks. They love to believe in gobbledygook and goons and you know.
Things like black veins and people
Yeah,
rising up to
that. Yeah, and then that's as Ronson is saying that, Johnson's like, the kind of stuff that literally just happened in there. Ronson, and Ronson kind of rolls his eyes. And Wise says,
Yes. Have you heard before of the Circle of Five?
and that's where we pan away from the shrine.
See you soon.
That's good.
It's a role-playing game.
No, that was really good.
Yeah.
Full metal alchemist.
That's right. We find ourselves at a house that's missing its tower. And Ox LePere is with Thaddeus Blackwood and
He insists to say it that way.
that's right.
That is Blackwood.
That's right. We briefly see Thaddeus and Ox. They are standing with Aldrich and a group of periphery officers. One of the officers has his notebook out. So you say the top of your house left.
That's exactly right. 1 minute we were studying artifacts of the ancient Oldfarian peoples, and the next moment the roof, away it went into the sky. Who knows where it could be?
We know where it is. It's in the steel. It landed on a warehouse and caused considerable damage. The workers there had quite a startle and quite lucky that no one was seriously injured.
What? We didn't do it.
I beg your pardon. I did not ask my roof to leave in this way. It simply blasted away. If there were some sort of dirigible off into the unknown.
Like Google dirigible real quick.
It's a blimp.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, New Fair Lord. A lot of people get around by dirigibles. That's the thing. Yes. Right. And you said that you were this man's nephew, grandson. What's the relation here, sir?
Grandson.
Grandson. Okay. Would you corroborate that the roof left?
Yeah, out of nowhere. We were just studying some artifacts, and seemingly out of nowhere it flew up, and as soon as it was here, it was gone.
Yeah. All right. Interesting. And what's your connection to these two individuals?
Well, I am a business partner of Ox's. I forgot what my voice sounded like. And a new friend of his grandfather.
Yeah. All right. Interesting. That's great. And so, what you have us believe that you were just sitting here minding your own business, studying some artifacts, and there was nothing about what you were doing or getting up to in this house that would have prompted the roof to fly away at meteoric speeds, fly across half of New Fair, and then crash down into steel.
I've been practicing some card tricks, but no, we weren't doing anything.
Card tricks? We hear from kind of off often. Getting out of a car is in fact Officer Ronson. Did someone say Godrix? Yeah. Yeah, Ronson. That's not what this is about. This is about the house. Half of the house is gone. Remember, the house is gone. We were briefed over the radio. We talked about this.
Good cop, dumb cop.
Yeah. Sure. Well, we'll talk later about Godrix. Anyways, so what did I miss? And we'll miss what he missed because we pan out of that scene. And we leave to Gray Slate Sanatorium. And Florence, what are you doing? Well, describe what you're doing in Gray Slate at this time.
I am in a patient's room it's a woman who I know her children were murdered by a phenomenon. And I am in her room, and she has a habit of trying to, basically scratching her arms. And so she's currently tied down, and I'm in there treating the wounds on her arms while she's mumbling incoherently. And I'm kind of changing out the cold compress on her head, too.
Yeah. And she's just kind of sort of rocking back and forth, pulling against her restraints. And she's just running cold, so cold, it's cold.
Yes, I know. It's going to be okay.
And as you say that, there's a knock at the door, and a individual that you would recognize enters. This is Dr. Kane. She's the Dean of Medicine at Gracelite. Florence, you don't have to do that. We've got a couple doctors assigned to Miss Williams here. You don't have to do that.
Kate, you and I both know that this woman doesn't get the attention she needs from them. They think she's crazy.
Well, fair enough. It's been quite a long day for you. Don't you have family or friends to head back to?
Appreciate the implication. What's Dr. Kane's first name? Would I know that?
Yes, this is Mavis. She's just been the Dean of Medicine for as long as you've volunteered it.
I kind of give her a dirty look and say, I have friends, Mavis. But I say, but this woman needs me right now.
Fair enough. I admit, we got a message today from a Declan, and he did say Declan is the lightkeeper.
From the boat.
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
Declan,
our
Declan is your lightkeeper.
Okay, that's fair.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this Declan said to meet him at a diner of
Psychopaths?
Yeah, he said that you would know the place. So, but he did say to meet at your earliest convenience, which seems oddly open-ended. But so I say all that we dearly appreciate your help, and we always appreciate the care that you give to the patients here. But we'll be able to manage. You're allowed to rest, you know.
Kind of absently, not really looking at Mavis, McCoy nods really curtly, and in a contrast to how rude she's being to Mavis, she's being very gentle with the woman in the bed as she's putting the final bandage on, and she says, "Very well. I would like to speak with the night shift, who will be attending this woman before I leave."
Certainly. I will go in, and there's some kind of muffled banging on the wall beside the room that you're in, and you hear some screaming from, or not even screaming, just like yelling, kind of incoherent yelling from the other room. Maybe just kind of pauses for a second. We just, we have a relatively new patient that's given quite a commotion. We have a few people in there right now.
Oh.
But,
Should I take a look?
I mean, there's several people in there. You are more than welcome to peek in, but I'm not sure what more would be done at this point, but
Well, let me see. And I brush past her to go towards the door.
You see when you go to the next door, the door is closed. There's just a kind of slit on the door.
As I'm walking towards the room, I'm kind of surreptitiously shifting so that Mavis can't see this, but I'm pulling out the dog tags that show me indicate when there's bleed nearby, my detector. And I'm kind of holding them in front of me while she's behind me to see if they're getting cold or if they're spinning. And I've learned my lesson. I'm holding them in the hand that is gloved.
Nice. Cool. So nothing seems to be happening with the dog tags as you move closer to this other room. You step out into the hallway of Gray Slate. Gray Slate is a just kind of picture very bland, sort of bleak, sterile.
Awful.
It's a sanatorium. It's where people are kind of shoved when no one wants to interact with them. There are kind of lantern sconces on the walls that just are kind of on either side of every single room going down. Just like gilded and maybe that's not right, but like silver inlaid, just kind of like it's randomly the nicest art aspect of the hallway. It's just these lanterns that go down the hallway. Other than that, it's just cold gray walls, ceiling, floor, all of that. But you peek in this door, and you see 4 men in white coats, and they're holding down this very gruff-looking individual. They've got a very scruffy beard, kind of a bigger gentleman, and they're shaking back and forth, and as you're looking in, you notice that this individual is missing a hand. This kind of rough figure, and he keeps saying, "Fire! Fire! So much fire! So much fire! Oh, so much fire! It's coming! I can see it!" And the lab coach is just holding this man down. "There's no fire! There's no fire, sir! You're fine! There's no fire! They're lanterns! There's no fire! It's lanterns! It's electricity!" And they're trying to calm this man down as he just kind of rustles back and forth. And Mavis comes out into the hall with you, and it's just kind of not looking in with you, but just kind of watching you watch in through the door.
Are there lanterns in the room? Or are they all in the hallway?
There is just like a single little chain, and then a little bowl and a light bulb, similar to this, kind of hanging down over in the. That's right, hanging down in the. Can we get start swinging it?
What can
Oh
wait.
Like that, exactly like that.
Wow.
But yeah, no, just one light in the middle of the room.
So Florence goes, "C's sake," and kind of stomps into the room for no reason, but just stomps in and pulls the cord on the chain on the light to turn it off. And then says kind of gruffly to the guards, "He doesn't know what he's saying. It's not rocket science. Turn the light off. My God."
And then the light turns off. The room is darker, and there is a very narrow window up on the top wall that is still letting in some light, so you're not bathed in darkness now. But and the man immediately, "Oh, fire, fire, oh," and he kind of calms down. And the men are able to kind of hold him down and strap his arms down onto the bed. But it seems like this man is kind of mellowed out now. And Mavis is kind of standing by the door. Yeah, he came in the last week or so, and he was just kind of wandering the streets down by Hallow Harbor. It seemed like I didn't know if he had been displaced from his home or what had happened, but no one's really been able to make sense of him. It's a wonder that he was able to bandage up his hand the way that he did. Otherwise, that wound seems very, very fresh. I fear he could have bled out.
First I say, does the wound look like it's been attended to already by someone there? Or is it still like no one's seen to it kind of thing?
It seems like it got cleaned up, like it got a basic treatment, like it has clean
so
bandages on it
stable.
now, but it is, yeah, he's
Basically. Okay. I am gonna say, was there anyone with him?
No, it was just him. He, some officers from the periphery brought him in just because he was causing a scene down in the harbor as dock workers were trying to get their job done, and he was just kind of roaming about. And so the officers came, picked him up, and brought him here.
Okay, I'm gonna go over to the bedside. I'm gonna be like, get out of my way to the car. Not quite that big. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna kind of like check them aside, and then I'm trying to like look over this guy and interpret. Is there anything about his state, or as I'm talking to him, anything that gives me insight into what he's experienced or anything like that? But I'm gonna, again, in a contrast to my manner, I'm going to pat his shoulder very gently and say, there, we've put the fire out, you're safe now. And then I'm gonna say, what's your name?
Name. They call me Conroy.
Conroy, the fire's out, you're safe now. Conroy, we want to make sure that we keep you safe. To do that, can you tell me what happened to you?
I was on a captain's seat. I run a boat, a private business, and we were sailing, hand.
It's okay.
And he kind of starts to look down at his arm and seems to get more panicked again as he remembers that he's missing a limb, and he kind of falls back into incoherent babbling as he starts to kind of panic about the fact that he's missing an arm or missing a hand.
I turn to the orderly nearby and I say, I don't know, 3 cc's of chamomile. I say something whatever it be. It's like, okay, I say 3 cc's of honeydew tincture. Quickly. And then I turn back to Mavis. Is there anything else about the man's appearance, any kind of his wounds, anything that would indicate to me what kind of phenomenon this was, or anything like that?
Make a focus roll.
Okay. And I know that, I remember how to do that, but just in case the listeners at home don't remember
Yeah. So you'll have your action rating besides focus, and that's how many colored circles there are.
Okay, I have 2.
So you would roll 2 dice if you wanted to spend any drives.
It's also gilded.
Okay, so
roll a gilded die with it.
Yeah, you would roll a gilded die along with your. So one of your 2 dice will be a gilded die.
So a total of 2 die.
Total of 2 die. One of those dice is gilded. And then if you wanted to add drives to it to improve your chances, you certainly can.
I'm gonna add 1 drive.
Okay.
And if she uses the gilded die, then she gets that back, right?
If you choose the result from the gilded die, then you would get that back. Yeah.
That's okay. So I'm gonna spend 1 just in case. Because what you would say, this is probably not a high stakes roll.
No. Yeah. You're
Okay.
just
Well, we'll see.
studying this well.
We'll see about that.
That's pretty wrong.
Nice. No, she uses the gilded one. Yeah.
What's in the gilded?
Well, it's higher than the other ones. It's 3, so that's not a 60. Well, okay, it's a 3.
Okay.
But I get the drive back, right?
Yeah, if you choose. Yeah. So you would get that right.
The other ones were 2 anyway.
Yeah. It's hard to tell. There's almost something less so about him specifically, and more about his general look that almost like there's the foggiest thought in the back of your brain about what that could spark some sort of remembrance, but nothing immediately comes to mind. It's unable to kind of get the thought, and as you're thinking, one of the doctors in there says, I'm starting to think there's too many cooks in this kitchen. We'll get the honeydew tincture, but we've got it handled. Thank you very much, Dr. McCoy. We appreciate your help. But we can do our job. We promise.
I say, I say, watch it, Smith. I kind of point at him, and then I stomp out.
Nice. And as you stomp out, we pan away out of Graceland again, and we go to Wade's favorite pub.
Ooh.
And it's a pub that he's very familiar with. It's down back in South Soffit, and as his favorite pub, he of course who could forget a wonderful time at a pub called
Poor guys. Oh.
Higgett.
Yes.
Higgett.
I like that.
Hanging out inside Higgett. Wade is sipping a drink. Are you sitting by yourself, or are you with War Buddy? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm just at the bar. We can picture, a darker inside, lights over the bar. I am sitting in the corner, far away from the door. My military training reminds me to always focus on who's coming in, who's going. So I'm facing the doorway, eyeballing whoever's coming in. Typical security things.
Yeah. The bartender comes over. He's a kind of squat, bald, but very kind of kind-eyed man, and he says, "Can I get you another round, Anderson?"
Do you have a name for the bartender?
Go for it.
Yes, Gerald, I would love another whiskey, please.
Oh, Gerald lives to serve.
Apparently.
Thanks for letting me exist, Anderson.
That's why I live.
It's literally why I'm alive.
He was behind the bar, you're just slowly.
Yep.
When you leave, you just...
Nathan spawned a bartender into existence. He's excited to be alive. So, where am I? Gerald goes over to the counter, and there's a man also at the bar. It says, Anderson? Wade Anderson?
That's me.
You recognize other member of this is Sean, just another guy from South Soffit. Y'all grew up together, both served in different battalions, but you have kind of come up in life together. Sean says, Wade Anderson, I haven't seen you since the war. How you been?
Sean. Hey, great to see you, man. Haven't seen you in a minute.
I know. Some of the people down here in South Soffit were saying that you were part of some sort of wild housing accident up in the eaves.
Yeah, just strange things happen all the time, man.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, that dude, they had periphery officers crawling all over. Some people even said, and Sean leads in. Some people said that the Shadow himself was investigating the crime scene.
Do I know who the Shadow is? Is that like a name that rings a bell?
Yeah. So the Shadow. The Shadow is almost superstition, but it's the equivalent of like a new fair, like vigilante. Like picture a detective,
Okay.
like detective crime fighter. Picture whatever that makes you think of.
A 1940s man wearing a trench coat.
That's right. Supposedly just like often associated with strange occurrences and strange.
Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like an
like
FBI, CIA agent, stuff
Yeah,
like that.
that kind of thing.
Alright, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Really? The Shadow's investigating.
Yeah, I mean that's what they say. I'm still kind of doubtful that it's not just people say this is some sort of force or entity, but I don't know. I think it's just some kook in a trench coat, some 1920s kook in a trench coat. If you get my drift.
Oh, Sean, I get your drift.
Gerald gets the drift too. Gerald does. Gerald loves to live and get drifts. Live to get drifts.
And he sets another beer, whiskey down in front of you. And as everyone laughs about getting drifts, the bell of the front door rings, and you turn around and you see a silhouette illuminated in the doorway of a man in a tall black hat. You know that this is Declan Picard, your like Hebrew. He walks in and he kind of surveys the room, adjusts his hat a little bit, and walks over to the bar and says, "Wade, good to see you. How you been?"
Declan, great to see you. It's been fine. Been enjoying my whiskey here.
I'll have what he's having.
Declan lives to serve.
Wait.
No, sorry. Declan lives to serve.
Well,
Yeah. He was born today. He's not great with names.
Gerald lives to serve.
He cries into the room as he pours another drink.
I look at Gerald and say, Gerald, leave the bottle.
Gerald can leave a bottle.
And Gerald sets the bottle down and goes off to tend to Sean, has raised his hand, and he goes over. And Declan says, "We need you back at the diner. We're gonna pick up the rest of the crew. And I've just been to see Ox and Thaddeus. Got them. They were in the clutches of some periphery folks, if you get my drift, dealing with the house, but." I think we smoothed that over, so we're gonna head back to the bar, pick up Florence, and then talk about some. And Declan kind of looks around at the people how many people are in the bar with you. We'll talk at the diner.
Okay. Declan, Sean was telling me that there's shadow investigating.
Declan kind of like half smiles and is like, "Yeah, actually, as we were leaving Aldrich's place, I heard a murmur that he might be snooping around the house. He must come out at night, so he's not going to be there until it's a little bit later. But yeah, I wouldn't. Listen, some people just it's Halloween all year. You know what
Halloween all year. No, I don't.
Yeah, I kind of don't either. But yeah, I wouldn't worry about the shadow. I mean,
Playing dress up.
he loves to. I don't know who he knows at the periphery that lets him wander into active crime scenes, but yeah, I mean, he can play around in there if he wants to, but I wouldn't worry about him.
I pour myself another drink. Let's finish this and let's head on to the diner. So I slam back the final whiskey and and slam the glass on the table.
Yeah. And then Declan nods. The two of y'all walk out, and
Gerald whimpers.
Gerald comes over with another whiskey. Oh,
my whole life. He has whiskey in hand and bottle. Wait.
Yeah. Wait. And as the door closes, he fades into non-existence.
Wow.
No, please.
Yeah. So, we moving things along a little bit. Y'all get back to the diner, and you were all sitting around a table at at Five Guys, and you are briefed by Declan that the circle from Seasway, the missing circle. This is the Circle of the Silver Line. They have been found, or at least one of their members has been found. Dr. Karina Sprite, who is one of the members of the Circle of Silver Line, was found back at one of their safe houses. This safe house is down in Hallow Harbor, and she was found in a peculiar state, and we've been asked by a rather distraught Temperance to investigate. So the circle is, unless y'all want to play out any extra aspects of the conversation in the diner, y'all's next stop is going to be this safe house in Hallow Harbor to investigate.
To the safe house.
Sound fun?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
A quest.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. So,
Start right.
yeah. You find yourselves in Hallow Harbor. Hallow Harbor is, as you can imagine, at the coast of New Fair.
How close is this to the initial shipwreck that we were at?
Not crazy. It's like the main port of New Fair,
Okay.
but it's a decent little journey down the coastline
Okay.
from where Seasway is. But you could maybe get there in a day.
Okay.
In a bit, but I mean, it's not.
The same place. Not.
Yeah, it's not the same place.
Yeah.
But you arrive at this safe house, and it is at this time it is nighttime. We've found ourselves in the evening, and you enter this. It's just a kind of ordinary looking house. Nothing too remarkable about it. Declan gave you a key to get into a particular room on the top floor. It's a 3-story building, and you head into this. You get to the 3rd floor and unlock this door, and you open, and it is an unlit, dark room. Can't really see anything because the lights aren't on right now. What do you do?
And our purpose of being here, this is the safe house of the Silver Line?
This is the perfect. Yeah, Silver Line. One of the members of the Silver Line turned up at this safe house.
Okay.
Is there a light switch on the entryway in the door?
Hmm?
I just turn that on when I walk in.
It explodes. No.
Yeah.
Idiot. Yeah. So the lights come on, and you just see a very simple, almost looks like a sitting room, like nothing overly remarkable about it. Over on the far end, there's a 3-panel window that looks out into the rest of Hallow Harbor. There is a swivel chair that is with the back to you, looking out into the harbor, and there seems to be a figure sitting in the chair, looking out the window.
What?
Is this figure alive?
Are we expecting it to be the woman that was found?
What Declan told you was that Dr. Karina Sprite of the Circle of the Silver Line turned up at the safe house.
Okay.
In peculiar fashion is what he said.
Okay.
And so, and he didn't want to say more.
Okay.
until-
But we were assuming to meet her here.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. That makes sense.
I feel like I would nudge McCoy, since she's a doctor as well, and just almost give you the hint to be like, maybe you should address her, because you might be able to relate or something like that.
I go, and then I have learned my lesson from the last time that I approached a unruly patient in the field, and I stay back with you guys. But I move forward a little bit, and I say, Dr. Sprite.
No answer.
Okay, I turn to them and I gesture to them. Is there a way that we can move around and kind of see her in the light from the window that she's facing? Okay, so I kind of shift to the side, plenty of space in between me and her, and I kind of gesture to the group to kind of spread out behind her.
I gesture towards you, and I just kind of like eye contact with you, and I'm like pointing at McCoy as like go be with her.
Okay. At this point, because we don't know the
I feel
situation,
just kidding.
I'm just going to ready myself for combat, just in case, because we don't know what might happen, and I just would rather be ready with something in hand. So I'm going to pull maybe it's probably going to say I pull a small pocket knife from my pocket and just have it ready out.
Sure.
It's not flicked open or anything. It's just in my hand, ready to, be used.
Before I say anything else, I pull out those dog tags, and I'm holding them in my gloved hand, and I'm kind of looking at them to show my party if are they reacting in any way?
They are not reacting. No. As y'all kind of inch around and ready yourselves and get closer to this figure sitting in the window, you get around and you see a woman, maybe in her late 40s, early 50s. She's got sort of mousy brown hair with some streaks of gray in it. Some spectacles that sit at the end of her nose. She's in a teal dress. Seems like she's got some leather boots on that peek out just below the knee. And she's got some leather gloves. One of those leather gloves is holding a handkerchief to her neck, and you can see that she seems to be staring up at the ceiling, and there's what seems to be the handkerchief, and the whole front of her dress is just completely blood-soaked, and she's not responding or seeming to acknowledge you at all.
I run towards her to check her pulse.
She's wicked dead.
She's wicked dead, you guys. I remove her hand and am investigating the wound.
When you move her hand and make a, let's see.
What have you done?
I think it would be really.
It's with my gloved hand. Did I tell you that?
Yeah. No, you're good. Just make another focus roll.
Okay.
Expecting.
She loses focus and hits her head.
Okay, I'm gonna use the drive again. So.
It's low stakes. You're just looking at the body. I mean, if you can do what you want to do.
You're right. What am I thinking?
Oh,
nice.
Stace.
Oh. Wow. Is it on your gilded deck?
No,
Oh, that's okay.
but I didn't use. I don't have a drive left.
That's cool. I forgive you. Great. Yeah. So you move her hand away, and you see.
I see through the universe.
That's right. Yeah. You know the cure to every physical wound that exists. She's got claw marks, and it looks like that they. It seems like distinctly like you recognize like in any sort of like animal related injuries or wounds that you've seen or dealt with in your past. Anything like seems like some sort of like animal claw did this. Just this like or claws of some sort down her neck, and it seems that they go like very far down like her entire torso, and there's just like her dress is tattered as if something just eviscerated her.
Can I tell from the size of the wound how big the creature might have been? Like their claws?
It honestly looks like pretty like an average size like the wound reminds you of something you maybe would have seen from like a tiger or a lion, but there are 5 like distinct streaks. So not it doesn't seem like there's like an unusual size to it per se. But yeah, just these 5 like claw marks down the front of the body.
It seems to be an animal of some kind.
Her throat was slashed.
And you hear some footsteps from the far corner of the room.
I was about to look around.
There's
The man in the corner.
a figure. It looks like a black sheet ghost, but if the sheet was just like a big leather sheet, steps out from the far corner of the room. He steps into the middle
It's
of
the
the room.
shadow.
And
Oh my gosh.
5 marks down the torso.
Were you afraid of sheets or something as a kid?
I fear nothing. The shadow fears nothing.
Make shadow puppets.
Afraid of shadows. That's,
He's actually Batman.
What time of day is it right now? Is that time?
It's nice.
It's night.
yeah, it's dark. It's dark. There's some faint rain pattering against the window as it is nighttime.
what do you know about this?
There was talk of a commotion down in Hallow Harbor. I had to investigate. The shadow always investigates. A lot of weird stuff going on in New Fair.
McCoy goes, I can't. You guys talk to him. Whoa.
How long have you been
ambiance.
here?
How long were you waiting in that corner?
Not too long.
Not like an
Were you
embarrassing
waiting?
amount of time.
Were you waiting in the dark? Why were the lights off?
The shadow thrives in darkness.
I love this guy.
Were we interrupting anything, or were you on your way out?
What were you doing?
Well, it's about that time.
It's a fair question.
Just following clues.
The door was locked. How did you get in here?
The shadow always finds a way.
And he, from it seems like almost like out of nowhere, but you realize that it's not. He's literally like there's some more extra folds and compartments to this leather sheet that he's in, but he's got this another leather like sound of like rubber rubbing against the rubber. His arm holds up. Also like leather glove. he holds up a piece of white fabric.
This was in her other hand. Didn't recognize the fabric exactly, but
And Florence, you would actually recognize the fabric. This is a piece of cloth from one of the orderlies at I'm trying to find the right word, but at Graceland, one of the doctors that would have been similar to the outfit of the doctors attending to the patient you were in. It's what all the, I think orderlies the word, but like the employees at Graceland wear. It's the same, like you recognize like the stitching and the tone of white and all of that.
Like it was torn off.
Mm-hmm. Like a torn piece of clothing, yeah.
I say, that is from, that's a Graceland uniform.
Graceland Sanatorium.
Yes.
Graceland is in the sidle.
Yes.
Is that where all your arch enemies go?
And then
This is literally just Batman.
the shadow walks over to the window and he says,
The shadow doesn't have an adversary for long. The shadow finishes the job. The shadow doesn't need.
and then as he's speaking, the window shatters entirely. I need everyone to make a move roll.
If we have nothing in this at all, it's 2 and you take the less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
And if you spend a drive, you would roll 1 and then take whatever's on the 1. I don't know why you would.
Eddie was studying how to move in the interim. No.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to use it, right, you can.
No.
A gilded 4. Nice.
4, 4, 2, 1. Okay.
You roll 2 1s.
Does the shadow make a...
I don't have anything, so you're gonna say Phil Lester
Probably that's a great point.
at disadvantage.
Who's
I'm
making the
assuming he's got 2. The shadow.
shadow.
He's like red.
That'd be hilarious if you die.
Yeah. So
Immediately just gets killed.
so the window shatters, glass goes everywhere. Ox and Wade, you are going to have moved just in time to avoid most of the glass. There are a lot of glass shards hit into Thaddeus and Florence. You're each going to take a body mark as this glass hits you. The shadow is only fine because of how much leather he's wearing. And he's now covered in glass, and he kind of like steps back. And as he does that, a new figure hurtles into the room. This figure is Wade, almost like something that you are very recently acquainted with. It seems like it is a red-robed ascendancy acolyte, perhaps, but the robes are not just red, but like red and orange and yellow, and it's this strange pattern that covers the whole robes, and it almost is like someone is sort of trying to create like flame patchwork in the robes of this figure.
I'm the light.
Yeah.
I'm the light. My arch rival! You again.
Yeah. This
is Joker.
yeah. This figure hurtles in through the window, and lands, and as it is landing, it throws out 2 like throwing star
Daggers.
things, shurikens. Yeah, throws them both, and because it kind of did this in one fluid motion, the window shatters, got y'all. The knives it throws out, and it has 4 stars that it threw out, 2 and 2, and everyone's going to get hit by one of these stars. So the 2 of y'all are going to take another body mark from these stars, and then Wade and Ox will take one more body mark.
Oh dear.
I'm full body marks. One more and I am scarred.
Same here.
Ba-ba-da-ba-da-boop. Okay.
Can I pull a weapon out?
You'd like to think that, wouldn't you? Yeah, by all
You already
means.
had your knife.
Ready a weapon.
I did, but I'm gonna pull my bigger weapon out.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna unsheath my sword.
Do we roll initiative?
Not this time.
Uh-oh.
And then the shadow is going to yell,
Flint!
and
They're really different.
It's gonna take more than an assassin to stop me.
And as he's saying that, the robed figure pulls from like within the slit of its robe a like flaming sword. Just like as it comes out, this like flame kind of emits from the sword, and pulls this out and slashes down at the shadow. The shadow saying,
It'll take more than an assassin to.
and there's this flash and the unpleasant smell of melting rubber, and the head of our dear and beloved shadow
Oh no!
hits the ground and goes thump, 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 across the room.
I miss
And
him.
like a board, the shadow whoomp onto the ground. The four of you with little shurikens and some of you bits of glass sticking out of you are now in this room with the corpse of this doctor and this strange figure that the shadow yelled Flint at, whatever that means. And we're gonna stop there. We're gonna take a
Is this because we laughed too hard at him? You were like, it's like this can't continue.
Yeah.